your weakness. Here it again. Surrender. In pursuit. Enemies expecting 6 shall pay. You regret choosing me as your ally. To settle this. They're coming through. Strike in an instant. You're lucky that waste of time. Press the attack. For the time field name, I will never lose. Such competitions don't go unanswered. Take this! It's too late to back down now. Enemies recalibrating. Surrender. Weak spot located. Seems my work is finished. The most symmetrical sword play. Enemies expecting 6 shall pay. Surrender. Chance to score. Stay away from me. Just breathe. Who dares her hand? I see your weakness. Let's dance. Who dares her out? The most symmetrical sword play. Who dares get between me and Lord Typhon? Stay on offense. Wish to continue? Strike in an instant. Move with the blade. Don't get scared, y'all. Fire!
take point. Vision activated.
Good morning everyone. Each of these team guide is also available written on Mobility website in the description. So does double Anomaly Alice is better than Hypercarry Alice? In the case against Typhon specifically, I think yes, contrary to the runs against Fiend, where in my opinion, Hypercarry Alice performs better. Because it's a long auto-stun fight, Alice assault spamming become a better strategy. In this scenario, double Anomaly performs better, and the reasons lies in Typhon boss mechanic itself, as it gives 4 to 5 impaired stun with 200 stun multiplier and increased damage. The team that can fit the most disorder count inside the stun window will be the one excelling against Typhon. With double Anomaly team, there is enough guess and interaction to make sure disorder keeps happening, while in a Hypercarry team, it's still possible to do a disorder chain rotation with alternating polarize and normal assault But sometimes there's no choice but to do assault spam when Alice etiquette is not enough for hold basic. We'll see it detailed later in the rotation breakdown. Before that, let's review the builds. Alice's best build is 4-piece Fang Metal and 2-piece Phaeton, with this 4 AP and this 6 AM, no other way. Her this 5 here is attack for defense red team with trigger and pen ratio for the rest. Yuzuha for now is on swing just, but in the upcoming update, she will be on the new Moonlight Lullaby set, with AM D6 and 2-piece Phaeton for her AM buff requirement. It would be better if she is on AP this far, but that might require a lot of attack substat to fulfill her 3000 initial attack requirement. Yanagi and Vivian both also on their standard AP build with AM D6 to ensure smooth disorder proc, and Trigger is on impact build with 4-piece Astral to buff Alice. I do have to point out that this season buff, Power Boost, is a really strong buff for both Alice and Yanagi. Because of this buff, there is no disables problem on the team and the ultimate timing can keep up with Typhon fast stun window, which would also explain why Alice Yanagi team performs very well. We start with Yanagi basic attacking Typhon for generating her energy and filling the electric anomaly to almost max. When Typhon is about to rocket barrage, swap to Alice for her hold basic. You don't want to do her hold basic early in the run, because it would be more beneficial if we can follow the polarized assault with disorder proc after. Here, Yanagi proc the disorder, and back to Alice, EX to get enough etiquette for another hold basic. This required 2 EX special. Notice that she has different EX special here. The first one is the neutral EX special, which hits slower but gives higher anomaly buildup. This is good because with only one neutral EX, she can proc assault. And the next one is an up EX special, with faster hit animation with a downside of lower anomaly buildup. Her etiquette is now full. Alice now do another hold basic. Now our objective is to proc an anomaly attribute before the polarized assault hits. The strongest point of Alice's polarized assault is how it can interact with other attribute anomaly to proc instant disorder. Remember, disorder damage depends on the time it is proc since the attribute anomaly is inflicted. Here, we do it with Yanagi Shock, which immediately overwritten by polarized assault after giving an instant 0-second disorder damage of 3 million damage. Yuzuha activate her swing jazz to Yanagi ultimate. Due to the current max anomaly buildup increase of the bosses, this ultimate didn't proc shock. But this is actually okay. We chain to Alice, proc assault over the polarized assault, ultimate for full etiquette, hold basic, and Yanagi proc the previously built electric anomaly meter before the polarized assault hits it to give 3.7 million damage. This is the synergy within Alice and other anomaly agent that you want to aim for, making sure that their disorder damage is proc in an instant to give the highest possible damage. And we can still keep going even after the stun window ends. The good thing about Alice against Typhon is that her assault is not interrupting Typhon's move, which means the fight can still advance to the next impair, unlike Yanagi Shock, which will stop Typhon movement. Here, Typhon is shocked, continued by Alice hold basic. Remember, we want to proc an attribute anomaly before the polarized assault hits. Because Yanagi already proc shock before, now Yuzuha will be the one that proc attribute anomaly before the polarized assault. And back to Yanagi again to get her energy and filling the electric anomaly meter, and the following rotation will be similar, with the same variation depending on situation and others. This is not really a set rotation, there's some improvisation at the last stun window rotation, but remember that the most important interaction that you want to aim in your rotation is this, an instant electric disorder overwritten by Alice polarized assault. And we can do a similar rotation with Vivian. Similar with Yanagi Team, Alice hold basic when Typhon do rocket barrage, and defensive assist with Vivian on the third one for 2 feathers by her defensive assist follow-up. Vivian EX to Alice trigger disorder on the polarized assault, use 2 of her EX for full etiquette, corruption should trigger during that time because of a bloom, Alice hold basic before the stun window, and before the polarized assault hits, use a proc disorder on the corruption and trigger the chain for Vivian chain. To use the chain for swing jazz, and Alice ultimate for disorder and full etiquette for another hold basic. And before the polarized assault hits, swap to Vivian ultimate for corruption. Now here, swap to Yuzuha for EX before Vivian plunge, so we can still use one of the overflow feathers. Each feather represents 500 to 700k of a bloom damage, so getting no overflow feather would be the best for damage optimization. But it's kind of hard to do in this team. So the best we can do is to minimize the amount of overflow feathers. If you can continue the disorder chain outside of the stun window, it would be good, but try not to overextend it. Me using Vivian EX here is actually not good. She wastes a lot of anomaly buildup on the max anomaly meter here. In the Hypercarry team with Trigger, our objective changed from disorder chain into assault spam. That's why we are better to start with Alice hold basic immediately. Although with enough planning, we can still do a disorder chain rotation like here. At the start of the first stun, we start with Alice ult basic with 50% anomaly meter. The previous assault already fizzles here, there's no way around it. Quickly after Alice hold basic start, Trigger proc Yuzuha chain attack, proccing assault, which immediately overwritten by Alice polarized assault and triggering distorted, Alice ultimate, and EX for full etiquette, and proccing assault over the polarized assault for another disorder. Alice ult basic to Yuzuha ultimate in the middle. There's no anomaly method that can be proc in between here, so this is the next best course. Polarized assault hits disorder, then back to Alice again, EX for assault over the polarized assault for the 4th disorder inside the stun window. Not as great as double anomaly team, which can do 5 to 6 disorder inside stun. But this shows that Alice works just fine alone as if she is with a disorder partner. Sometimes might work best alone in a Hypercarry. And following that, she can still continue the disorder chain like you see here. Now there's a scenario where the anomaly order goes wrong. Like in the 3rd stun window, Alice start with her hold basic, but I do the Yuzuha chain a bit too late, which makes the order not assault overwritten by polarized assault, but the opposite. Polarized assault overwritten by assault from Yuzuha, which makes the next assault a double assault and doesn't proc disorder, and also messed up the following anomaly proc. The 3rd stun window became quite troublesome. There's about 2 to 3 million damage loss because of this. This might be a good thing or a bad thing. With an optimized disorder chain rotation on the latter stun window, this team actually can kill within 4th stun window. But because of the mistake in the 3rd stun window, we can get one more defensive assist for the last 200 performance point, giving us max 65k score. Different than Trigger team, Vivian team get 65k max score because Typhon got interrupted in the middle of its defensive assist phase. I don't know why this happened and how to trigger it consistently, but it's the easiest way to get 65k. Another way to get the last 200 performance point for max score with only 4 stun window is after the first impair. Run as far away as possible, baiting Typhon to jump, resetting its behavior, and get another defensive assist for impair. So now, something that we have to talk about. Is Yuzuha needed? To play Alice? No. But to get Alice to her peak performance? Sadly, yes. Yuzuha to Alice is like Astra to Evelyn. There's good alternative of Yuzuha for Alice, but for now, Alice's best teams all contain Yuzuha in it. It's a shame because in this season, Mia being Butcher's side also when Yuzuha helps. And that's all the breakdown. Currently, I've been trying some new video format. Compiling several runs that's similar into one video might be good for explaining the rotation and also giving comparison. I might still do a detailed rotation guide for one specific team if that team has a high significance. But let me know what you think in a comment. I hope this video helps you and see you next time.